What is going on, guys? It is Supernova here. Welcome back to another Rocket League ranking video, and in today's episode we're going to be ranking all of the Rocket Pass goal explosions for 2023. So basically we include every single goal explosion that has ever come out in the Rocket Pass. We do this every single year, as long as every other, like, you know, decals. We do black market decals, black market goal explosions, season rewards, colors, and Rocket Pass cars and Rocket Pass goal explosions. So yeah, this year I actually did something a little bit different. I actually went live on my Twitch ranking these live, and it was actually really fun. Don't worry, nobody influenced me in any way, shape, or form. I got a lot of weird looks, but at the end of the day, it is my opinion. So, you know, they can get mad, I can get, you know, happy, because, you know, it's kind of fun watching people. Anyway, this year is completely different from last year. Don't worry, it is entirely different. Actually, a lot of things that I wish I didn't put last year, so low or so high or whatever. So definitely a lot different than last year, and yeah, it's actually going to be pretty exciting. So make sure to use code SPORTAN11 in the item shop, and if you guys have not hit the subscribe button, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below to get up to date on my newest Rocket League videos. Alright, at the number 37 spot, and I did forget to mention, I'm not going to be ranking these based off of like sound or like colors or anything like that, because we're going over all of the unpainted versions, but it's kind of just how I feel about it, I guess you could say. But at the number 37 spot, making a re-return from the top spot, or the last spot, we have Floppy Fish. This is a pretty weird one, I'm not gonna lie. I don't like fish to begin with. Like, I don't eat fish or anything. I do fish though, like as in like I, you know, catch them, but I, you know, don't really keep them because I don't enjoy eating fish. But nonetheless, this is a really weird goal explosion. So at the number 37 spot, we do have Floppy Fish. At the number 36 spot, we do have Nomster. Now, this one was a very weird one from Season 6, or S6, that really weird kind of season that just nothing really good came out of it, and this is another example of what did not come out of it. We have Nomster. It's really cool that it does, like, pull in the cars and actually launch on them, which is actually pretty cool. But it's still really weird in a sense of, like, it's kind of like a giant, like, fur ball. I don't really know. I'm not too big of a fan of it. So yeah, at the number 36 spot, we do have the Nomster goal explosion. All right, everyone look away, because this thing is going to give you an absolute, I don't even know. It's going to give you some kind of, I forget what the word is off the top of my head, but don't look at this one, because honestly, it would just, I don't even know what, I forget what it's called, to be honest with you. But at the number 35 spot, we do have Light Show. Pretty crazy. Not really a big fan of it. It is pretty cool for like a rave type feeling, but it can make you spaz out a little bit. It's something along those lines. So yeah, at the number 35 spot, it's just going to be Light Show, because I don't know, man, too much is going on this one. At the number 34 spot, and this one actually hurts really much because I did use Holodata for a very long time, but at the number 34 spot, we do have Holodata. It's really not that cool at the end of the day. Yes, it is a giant cube that explodes into like smaller cubes and stuff like that, but I think we've come so far in the Rocket Pass goal explosions journeys that I think there's definitely a lot better of a goal explosion out there now recently. So yeah, at the number 34 spot, it's just going to be Holodata. At the number 33 spot, we do have Virus. Now, this is actually a goal explosion that I'm surprised was not up there with Nomster and Floppy Fish, but I feel like this one might get some hate as well. We have the Virus one. The only reason why it deserves some points is because of the way the computer kind of just crashes. That is something that I do enjoy, but nonetheless, I still think it is a very weird goal explosion with Dance Party and then just going out. I mean, like, I don't know. It's just not one of my top favorites. So at the number 33 spot, we do have Virus. At the number 32 spot, we do have Riser, another one of those that is kind of music related, but this one is definitely a lot cooler than Light Show, and definitely a lot cooler than Holodata. I know it again is a little bit of a cube related, but I feel like the music goes a little bit better with this Riser decal, or Riser black market gold, or Riser Rocket Pass goal explosion. Man, I could not talk there for a second. But yeah, at the number 32 spot, it's just going to be Riser. I do really enjoy the colors a lot, but that's all I really do enjoy. So at the number 32 spot, we do have Riser. Now, I know this one might get some hate, and I probably spelled it wrong, to be honest with you, but at the number 31 spot, we do have the Kablooey Goal Explosion. There's a lot of these Goal Explosions that I don't really remember what season they were or where they even showed up, and Kablooey is kind of one of those. I don't even know where it came from, which season or anything like that. I still think it is a really cool Goal Explosion, but it kind of reminds me of like a tuned version of, well, tuned actually, so it's just tuned Goal Explosion, just a little bit more exaggerated. One thing that I really do like is every single animation is actually different. If you look at the lines in the background, there was one going here, one going here, one going here. You'll see it actually change this time with one only going there, one only going there. So yeah, that's one thing that I do really enjoy about this. But at the number 31 spot, we do have Kablooey. At the number 30 spot, we do have Savage Spray. Now, this one actually stayed about the same as last year when it comes to ranking wise. I still think it is a pretty decent Goal Explosion. I think the theme was very well done, or very well placed and very well done, but at the same time, it is just a spray pan. I don't think it really deserves to be any lower, or even I think it's a lot better than the other Goal Explosions that we've talked about. So at the number 30 spot, it's actually going to be Savage Spray. At the number 29 spot, and I really do not understand why I put it actually this low on the list. I guess it's just because of the colors, but at the number 29 spot, we do have Smoke Show, a completely underwhelming Goal Explosion, but the colors make it so much better. Now, I know I said I wasn't basing it off of colors, but you know, it's something you got to take a little bit into consideration, you know. But yeah, number 29 Smoke Show is just so unfortunate because I felt like it could have been so much better. It could have taken up more of the goal. It could have done a lot better, like Dust Cloud. You'll see it in a little bit. But yeah, at the number 29 spot, it's just going to be Smoke Show again. Really underwhelming in that sense. So yeah. At the number 28 spot, we do have Checkered Flag from the racing season. This one is actually really cool. And fun fact, if you get this hint, I don't know. If you get this hint, I don't know. I'll give you a cookie or something. But Checkered Flag is a pretty cool Goal Explosion. But, you know, Checkered Flag, here we come. Cars. It's actually in the game this time. Last year, 10 months ago, I actually reviewed this Goal Explosion and was like, you know, Checkered Flag, here we come. Rocket League, add cars. And we have now cars officially in the game, which is just absolutely wild. So I'm honestly surprised I didn't put this at the number 1 spot because this would go really well with the Lightning McQueen. If you don't have the Ka-Chow Goal Explosion, you could actually use the 20, or you could actually use Checkered Flag. That one actually would go very well. There's a lot of racing lines from cars that work very well with this Goal Explosion, but at the end of the day, it is just a Checkered Flag waving around. So at the number 28 spot, it's going to be Checkered Flag. Talk about a Goal Explosion that I don't even remember which season it came from. I don't even know how it got into my inventory, and I actually forgot it last year. At the number 27 spot, we do have League Legacy. Another one of those that, man, oh man, I don't even know where it came from. But yeah, it's a pretty cool Goal Explosion. It kind of reminds me of like another version of Ballistic, but with the supersonic acrobatic battle, rocket-powered battle cars or something. Yeah, no, SARP BC. Anyway, it's those Rocket League balls that are passing over into this one. So it is a really cool Goal Explosion for memory lane. But I did promise everybody this year that I would not base it off of like nostalgia or anything like that. So at the number 27 spot, we do have League Legacy. Finally getting into our, I think, one of our oldest Goal Explosions that we've done so far with Force Razor 1. This is a very old one, and if you guys do not remember, long time ago, we used to get multiple versions of a Goal Explosion. Sometimes it was 1 or 2, or 1 to 2, 2 to 3. Sometimes it didn't matter, or sometimes it depended on which season, but this is the Force Razor 1 at the number 26 spot. It is a really cool Goal Explosion. I do think it is a lot better than the other ones just because of how clean it looks and stuff like that. So I did give it the benefit of the doubt. At the number 26 spot, we do have Force Razor, one of the oldest so far. Again, with another absolute old Rocket Pass Goal Explosion, we do have the Quasar, or the Quasar. Yeah, I'm going to say Quasar. I think it really is Quasar, but we do have the Quasar 1. Again, I forget which Rocket Pass it was entirely from, but this is a super clean Goal Explosion. It's kind of like that black hole in the middle, giving out like solar flare vibes. I do really enjoy this one, but at the end of the day, there is a much better one. So at the number 25 spot, we do have the Quasar, or Quasar 1. Yeah, that's right. I actually did do that. At the number 24 spot, we have Force Razor 2, the last one of this entire series. And I'm not even going to lie to you guys, it's definitely not one of my favorite goal explosions. That's why it's actually so high up on the list. And Force Razor 1 and Force Razor 2 almost kind of give me the exact same vibes, except the duration is a little bit longer and the color, it's a little bit more, you know, of an animated design. But other than that, I'm actually not a huge fan of this one. So at the number 24 spot, we still have Force Razor 2, which is beating out a lot of the others. But at the end of the day, there's definitely a lot better ones. At the number 23 spot, we do have Poof. Now, the reason why this is actually so high up on the list, it almost made the top 20, but it unfortunately did not. And I might get a lot of hate for that, but it really is just Poof. It is a really clean one. It is a really cool one. But at the end of the day, it really is just Poof. The sound effect is really cool. It is a lot different from a lot of the other goal explosions. But again, at the end of the day, it's just... So yeah, at the number 23 spot, we do have Poof. Yeah, that's right. I actually gave this one an entire redemption series, coming in all the way from like number 30 spot. I mean, that's not too far away, but last year there was only like 31 or something, so I guess it is a pretty big difference. At the number 22 spot, we do have Yeehaw, baby. Now, I'm never doing that again, by the way. Don't ever, never doing that again. But anyway, Yeehaw was definitely a really cool goal explosion that I thought was actually going to be a lot better. It didn't turn out to be as good, but as I've come to realize over the years, it is actually really innovative and really cool at the exact same time. So that's why it almost made the top 20. I still think obviously there's a lot better ones, but Yeehaw is definitely better than Poof. I've said it before and I'll say it again. So yeah, at the number 22 spot, we do have Yeehaw. At the number 22 spot, we do have the second version, not the first one. Sorry, let me type that in. The second version of the Quasar 2 goal explosion. This one, again, is giving me more of an animation. There are 3 of these, by the way. Not still one of my favorite Rocket Pass goal explosions. You'll see very shortly, but the Quasar 2 is definitely a lot better than the Quasar 1 because it gives a little bit more of an animation. I really do enjoy the colors a lot, and I love that black hole. It's kind of like a really angry black hole. Maybe next year I'll rank it a little bit lower, but for right now, at the number 21 spot, we do have the Quasar 2. At the number 20 spot, we do have Wall Breaker 1. Still, by the way, one of the best color combinations of any Rocket Pass goal explosion besides like 1, 2, and 3 and stuff like that. But I think Wall Breaker 1 was absolutely so innovative at the time, and I think it is so cool the way it covers the entire goal explosion, and then the way it kind of like has like a Quasar version where it like brings in all of the blocks around. That is something that I really do enjoy. Now, if you were to say that like, you know, last year or 2 years ago, I would rank Wall Breaker 1 at the number 20 spot, you would call me insane. But there's just so many goal explosions now that are just 10 times better than the Wall Breaker 1, and you'll see it very shortly. There's a lot of other ones that I really just was like, it's not in the top 5 anymore, top 10 anymore. So yeah, at the number 20 spot, we do have the Wall Breaker 1. At the number 19 spot, we do have a Supernova 1. Now, Supernova series is by far still one of my favorite series of all time when it comes to goal explosions. I'm pretty sure Supernova 3, I do have one of the most goals on any goal explosion in the entire game by now. But at the number 19 spot, just barely squeaking into the top 20, we do have Supernova 1. This is the first rendition of the Supernova series, and it is a really cool one. The colors look phenomenal. It's giving me Atomizer vibes, just a little bit smaller, but don't worry, as we progress into Supernova 2 and Supernova 3, it will get a little bit better. Now, I will say, last year, I definitely ranked this a lot lower. This year, again, same thing with Wall Breaker. There's just so many better goal explosions now, and my, thoughts have changed and stuff. So, at the number 19 spot, we have Supernova 1. This is what Smoke Show should have been, by the way. At the number 18 spot, we do have Dust Cloud. I forget which season this was. I think it was that one with the Outlaw GXT in it, or the Outlaw series. But at the number 18 spot, we do have Dust Cloud again. This is what Smoke Show should have been in a sense. This one is a really cool goal explosion, especially if you're playing on a dust map or a sand map. I think it does look really cool, and some of the painted versions are also very nice. But at the number 18 spot, it's just going to be Dust Cloud. And the Quasar series finally comes to an end. At the number 17 spot, we do have the Quasar 3. This one was ranked a lot lower last year, but unfortunately, as what happened, this year, a lot better goal explosions have come out, and this is, again, a very old goal explosion that still holds its ground to this day. but it's still not one of my favorites when it comes out of this entire series. So yeah, at the number 17 spot, we do have the Quasar for the last and final gold explosion of this entire series. So shout out to that one. But I don't know, the colors look great. The black hole gets more intense and stuff, but at the end of the day, I'm not really a big fan of it anymore. I think I grew out of it. This is actually the highest gold explosion when it covers the entire map. I'm usually a huge fan of this one, and actually it took a massive hit from last year. Last year was about the number 3 spot or so. I don't really know what my beef is with like hot and magma. I guess I hate it this summer or something. It was too hot. I'm not really too sure. But at the number 16 spot, it's going to be Brimstone. Don't get me wrong, it does look really cool, but there's another one that looks a little bit better. So at the number 16 spot, it's going to be Brimstone. I definitely did this gold explosion very dirty last year. I think it was around the 32 spot, maybe like 28 spot or something like that. But at the number 15 spot, all the way down from the top, we do have Mr. Monsoon. I'm not really too sure what has gotten into me over the last year, but whenever I see this gold explosion in game, I think it is absolutely phenomenal and memorizing to look at. This was a very old Rocket Pass gold explosion that still stands its ground to this day. So at the number 15 spot, it's going to be Mr. Monsoon. At the number 14 spot, and I still can't tell you which season this is from, maybe it's from that space themed, but at the number 14 spot, we do have Spatial Rift, a very clean, relaxing goal explosion. I think this is a very cool one. It covers the entire map, and it just gets all pulled into this, like, I don't even know what that is, but it's still really cool. So at the number 14 spot, we do have Spatial Rift. Talk about a goal explosion that I really truly do not know where this thing came from. At the number 13 spot, we have Surge Burst. Now, when I was live on Twitch, I was kind of looking at all the Rocket Pass goal explosions, and I was like, Surge Burst? What on earth is that? And it turns out that there was no painted versions of it, nothing. I have absolutely no idea what season it came from, and I should have looked it up. But either way, it actually deserves the number 13 spot. For not seeing it ever in games, it's pretty cool. I think people should use this more often. One of my favorite parts about this actually is when the goal is actually scored, there's like 2 like lines. Look how quick they are. They like kind of do this movement and just like go into this ball of energy and just explode. That's pretty cool, and the colors look absolutely phenomenal with like a green and black. So yeah, at the number 13 spot, I don't even know how the heck it made the number 13 spot. We do have Surge Burst. Talking about not even making the top 10 this year, at the number 12 spot, we do have Supernova 2. Now, this is still, like I said earlier, one of my favorite goal explosion series of all time. But if we got to look at the facts here, there's definitely 10 times goal explosion, or 10 times better goal explosions this year than there were last year's or 2 years ago. So yeah, at the number 12 spot, it's going to be Supernova 2. Maybe I'm growing out of the Supernova series, but at the end of the day, it's still, I think, in a top 15 area. So that's still pretty nice. So at the number 12 spot, it's going to be Supernova 2. At the number 11 spot, we do have by far one of the most peaceful, relaxing Rocket Pass goal explosions of all time, Lotus Bloom. Now, I know I might get some hate on this one because Lotus Bloom was a pretty popular one during the S10 season, but if I gotta admit, there's still 10 times better ones. And also, I really do, the only reason why I put it at the number 11 spot is because it's so peaceful. The sound that comes out of it is just so peaceful in a sense. So at the number 11 spot, we do have Lotus Bloom. I know that one might be a little bit of a hot topic, but yeah. Besides being one of the most amazing fictional animals of entire existence, it still only gets in the top 10 spot. This is how you know I'm not basing it off of like my favorite thing. Well, I mean, 1 and 2 kind of are, but Phoenix Fire is, well, phoenixes in general are by far one of the coolest mystical animals of all time. I'm pretty sure they're not real. I'm like 100%. I hope they're not real. But at the number 10 spot, we do have Phoenix Fire. Shout out to Phoenix Fire for being the only painted gold Rocket Pass goal explosion ever created, actually, so far. So Yeah, pretty cool. It is a really cool animation, and I definitely have to use this more. So at the number 10 spot, we do have Phoenix Fire. Another gold explosion that I actually can't find from last year, so that means I probably forgot. But at the number 9 spot, we do have Elemental. Now, this one did get a lot of hate when S9 came out, and I really don't understand why. The painted versions, I do understand, but the unpainted version is absolutely phenomenal. It's fire and ice, or fire and water coming together to just make a giant explosion. I mean, come on, man. Like, how can you not love that? Talk about the Avatar days. I mean, Elemental is a phenomenal series all around. We had Elemental Boost, Elemental Trail, and Elemental Gold Explosion. That was a phenomenal series right there. So I think it deserves to be in the top 10. So at the number 9 spot, we do have Elemental. Boom. At the number 8 spot, I think we have one of the most used pro goal explosions of all time, next to Airstrike Overgrowth, and for good reason on this one. I think Overgrowth is a great goal explosion. This was a little bit of an older one as well, and I gotta hand it to them. They did a really good job, especially some of the painted versions. You can make it look like fall, you can make it look like winter, and also here you can just make it look like summer. So I think Overgrowth is a phenomenal Rocket Pass goal explosion, and it deserves the number 8 spot for me, hanging around the same exact spot that it did last year. So shout out to Overgrowth for still hanging up, or still hanging in there. Talk about another old goal explosion that still stands the test of time. We do have a Rad Rock. Now, when this entire series first came out, I did promise everybody that I would use it for an entire season. That lasted for about less than 2 weeks, but I think the Rad Rock series is really phenomenal if you're huge into crystals. Plus, it also really matches the old GC colors, so there's a little bit of a throwback on that one, but I think Rad Rock still stands the test of time. I think it looks absolutely phenomenal. It starts with the wall, and then it like gets pulled in and explodes all the crystals around. That is something that I really do like, and it still looks phenomenal, and the colors look amazing. So at the number 7 spot, we do have Rad Rock. I gotta say, for this season, they did a really good job with this gold explosion. I was actually gonna rank this near kind of like, not high, too high up there, but I thought Phoenix Fire might have been a little bit better, but I saw this in game and I actually liked it 10 times more. Now, I feel like the main menu doesn't really do too much justice, but when you're out there on the field, I think it looks 10 times better, and I'll even show it to you. I mean, granted, it just took up the main menu, but I still think it looks really good in game versus the main menu. I think it's just got a cooler effect. So that's why I actually ranked it a little bit lower at the number 6 spot. You'll see here why in a second. None of the others really do that when it covers the entire map. I think the main menu actually can cover it just fine. But when it comes to in-game, I think it just looks 10 times better and looks way more trippy in a sense. So that's why I have it at the number 6 spot. And I think it is pretty cool. So this is the second highest goal explosion that covers the entire map, and there are a couple more coming up very shortly that are much lower. So at the number 6 spot, we do have Zero's World. So still making that top 5, I do think Wall Breaker 2 is better than Zero's World. Yes, Zero's World does cover the entire map, but I think Wall Breaker has a way better animation. As you can see, it covers more of the area around it, and then the spinning circles that you get when the blocks are getting pulled in are 10 times cooler than the last Wall Breaker one, obviously. But I think Wall Breaker 2 is still standing the test of time, and actually these next two have really just, I don't know, like, they're great, and I'm really glad they're making the top 5. But let me tell you something, some of these other gold explosions are coming in and taking over. So this is the only series right here, the Wall Breaker 2, that's might get out of the top 5 next year, depending on how next year goes. So at the number 5 spot, we do have Wall Breaker 2. Dropping from the top 3. Yes, that is right. Supernova 3. Sorry, not 2. Supernova 3 is no longer in the top 3. It has been taken over. So yeah, Supernova 3, again, still one of my favorite series of all time. I do think I have the most gold explosions. Corbital's heading up there though, because Corbital is actually really cool. But I do think Supernova 3, okay, well, I can't see it, but it is still Supernova 1 has 268 gold explosions. So, at the end of the day, it is still a very good series, but it is unfortunately time for the Supernova to finally leave the top 3. After 3 years, you have done amazing, but there are just 3 others that are 10 times better. Looking absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely. We have the number 3 spot, Shield Breaker. Now, I actually did forget about this one. I still don't even know where this came from. Again, this is one of the others that just, I don't even know where they come from, but somehow they make it in the top 10. This one's in the top 3. This one looks absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it's a soccer ball. Just absolutely phenomenal. Not much too much to say on that one. At the number 3 spot, we do have Shield Breaker. And again, at the number 2 spot, we do have Ice Age. This one is still just 10 times better than the Brimstone. I don't know if it's because I hate the heat and I love the cold, or the fact that the Ice Age has more of like an effect to it where you can see the really snow come into it, and I think it looks 10 times better in game as well. But the main menu actually does it a lot of justice as well. But yeah, Ice Age Ice Age Goal Explosion, that should actually is better than probably better than Shade Raid. At the number 2 spot, we do have Ice Age, still unbeaten when it comes to the cold and stuff like that. So yeah, at the number 2, Ice Age. And again, the reigning champ from last year, we do have Cosmosis. I'm a huge sucker for space and ice, so that's what I kind of meant by, like, you know, 1 and 2 or something that I do enjoy. But at the end of the day, Cosmosis was by far one of the best Rocket Pass goal explosions that they have ever released of all time. I mean, if you look at this thing, it is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, like, you have space, you have clouds in the sky, you have galaxies in the sky, you have stars everywhere. I mean, it's just absolutely unbeaten, and the way it looks in game is just absolutely phenomenal. I do have a lot of goals with this one. I used this for the longest time until Corbital came out, so I gotta hand it out to Rocket League. Cosmosis is just an absolutely phenomenal Rocket Pass goal explosion that takes the number 1 spot yet again for being absolutely amazing. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the list this year. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. I'll see you guys in the next episode.